Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Woolley. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Wednesday. Today we're going to review the properties of exponents. This is our second day of review, and it is in preparation for your quick quiz on Thursday. So our agenda is to complete our do now, to complete a drop and drag activity. You are then going to do a nice quick quiz review on Edge Elastic in preparation for the open notes quick quiz on Thursday. And your homework is on IXL. I've already assigned it. It's in the recommendations. It's F13, which is to identify equivalent expressions involving exponents. My suggestion to you would be to go through your notes and make sure that you organize them and you have your graphic organizer out that you worked on Tuesday. And please take that time Wednesday to organize and maybe write some examples on a note card. So on Thursday, you're not trying to shift through a whole bunch of papers and notes. You've already done that and prepared as best you can and organized all your materials. So the first, and I do apologize, it's a little bit out of order on my PDF. So the first thing we're going to do is a do now. And so it asks you, what is the reciprocal of 2/3? So I want to remind you, the reciprocal is also called the multiplicative inverse. And to find the reciprocal, what that means is to flip it. And I tried to leave you a little picture above this. So the reciprocal means to flip it. So for 2/3, the reciprocal is 3/2, and that would be the answer. So you're flipping it. Now we've been working on two-step equations, and we've been working on these equations so that when we get to the next unit and we're solving more challenging equations, you have a process. You can solve this algebraically when you do not know what the answer is. I know a lot of you like to guess and check to figure out what x is, and often we give you equations where you can actually figure out the answer pretty quickly by doing that. But that's not the point of us having you work through an equation. The point is to learn how to solve the equation algebraically and use inverse operations. So let's get the answer out of the way. The answer is x equals 3. And we're going to now do this, solve this algebraically. And I do want to note that the variable happens to be on the right-hand side of the equation. And that is fine. I do not want you to rewrite your equation because this is equal. The two expressions are equivalent. You do not need to always have the variable on the left-hand side. So if you remember, in class, we like to talk about a game plan. Our game plan is the steps that we're going to use and the order that we're going to use them in to solve this equation. So the first thing we want to do is we want to undo our subtraction by adding 3 to both sides. And then we want to undo our multiplication by dividing both sides by 6. So now that I have my game plan down, I draw a line right through the equal sign. And that line splits the equation in half. And it is meant to remind you, whatever you do on one side of the equation, you have to do the same exact thing on the other side. So to undo the subtraction, we're going to add 3 right under here. And we need to do the same on the other side of the line or on the other side of the equation. So we know that 15 plus 3 is 18. Equals, I'm going to have you bring down your 6x. Now you can see your -3 and 3 are opposites or additive inverses. So we've taken care of our first step in our game plan. Now our second step is to divide both sides of the equation by 6. And I want to remind you that you should use a fraction bar to show your division. And we have to use a fraction bar because it's very easy to see that 6 divided by 6 makes a 1x, and that's what we want, a 1x. I'm not going to write the number 1. Remember, we learned our vocabulary that the number multiplying the variable is the coefficient. I'm not going to write that in this case. And I know that the quotient of 18 and 6 is 3. And I already knew that answer, but this was the process, the algebraic steps to actually solve this equation using inverse operations. Okay, so we're going to go do the drop and drag activities. And again, I do apologize that this is out of order. So on the drop and drag activities, what I would like you to do, please, is to read through each of the sentences and then decide what correct word would complete the sentence. I'm going to ask you to kindly stop the video to please go ahead and drop and drag and then turn the video on to look at the answers. Okay, any non-zero number raised to any number to the 0 power is equal to 1. To multiply powers with the same base, you add the exponents. To divide powers with the same base, you subtract the exponents. To find the power of a power, you multiply the exponents. A negative exponent means to change position and make the exponent positive. So when you are simplifying exponential expressions, that is, by definition, one of the things that makes an exponential expression simplified, when there are no negative exponents in it. And I just like to remind people, everybody likes positive people, so exponential expressions like to be positive. Okay, so now we're going to do another little drop and drag activity, and I'm going to have you match the expression with its equivalent simplified exponential expression. And I really want you to think about what property was used and why that answer makes sense. So please stop the video, do your drop and drag, and then restart the video to check your answers. Okay. So for the first expression, this is equal to 48x to the 6th power. For the second expression, 1/4. For the third expression, 4. Now this is a tricky one. Remember, this is 4 times x to the 0 power. And 4 times 1 would give you 4. On problem number 4, the answer is 1 divided by 7 squared. And on problem 5, 2 to the 36th power. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to have you do is to actually start the Edulastic activity. I want to remind you, I believe in you. I won't give up on you. This is important, and I know you can do this. So for the exponential quick quiz review, there are just a few problems. Please use your notes and organize them. When you are done, I have set this up so it will release what you chose and the correct score, the correct answer. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And I want to remind you that SMART is something that you become. It's not something that you are, and you are getting smarter every single day. You can do this. So please stick with it. It's worth it. This is important. And I'm here to help you. All right, when you are done, the homework is right here. Just to remind you, an 80% gives you 100, and that is truly a good deal. And then I just summarized the different expressions that we've been looking at, except this one. You don't need to worry about fractional exponents right now. You're going to learn about those in Algebra 2. All right, thanks everybody. Thank you for working so hard. I truly appreciate it, and a very happy Wednesday to you.